Roglad Sully here. I'm going to do a real quick shout out to say thank you to Harriet Herfer. So I can't remember the conversation, but we were having some back and forth in the comments, I believe, of one of her videos, where I was talking a little bit about not really enjoying or being very well astute on Burley blends. And she recommended Sweet Cask, Hearth and Home Sweet Cask. And I tried it on her recommendation. I ordered a couple of ounces, which, by the way, there's a whole bunch of those Hearth and Homes that come in the giant tubs that a lot of folks haven't tried because pipesandscigars.com didn't offer that in any smaller than, I want to say it was like a 12-ounce jug, or it's a large jug. They recently started selling them in 2-ounce samples, so you can get Chatham Manor, I think. You can get Sweet Cask. You can get a whole bunch of them. And so I took her advice, ordered a 2-ounce sample of it, and I love it. And I had a little bit of it, I'll call it a tobacco epiphany moment. So, as you know, I've been doing a lot of kind of experiments with vintage tobacco. And kind of an effort to connect to what was my past, my granddad, maybe things that he might have smoked. And most of those are Burley blends. And up to a few days ago, every time I'd try a Burley blend, there would just be this kind of thing about them that I didn't quite understand. Didn't quite understand why it just didn't ring that bell inside that all the other tobaccos have rung. Like, you know, Virginia. The first couple of times I tried Virginia, I was like, oh my goodness, this stuff's awesome. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about kind of my tobacco journey, so to speak. So I started like most people did. I bought myself a corn cob. I got some aromatic. I believe it was 1Q. I think my local B&M, which is called Pipe World here in Austin, they call it 24 karat. And I'm pretty sure it's 1Q. I still never have quite understood why they have to rename those. But so I tried the corn cob, tried the aromatic, burnt the crap out of my tongue, and like most of us, put it down for quite some time. Well, in August, I picked it back up. I experimented a little bit. I'm a cigar smoker. I've always been a cigar smoker. I experimented a little bit with vapes while I was smoking a cigar to kind of get that sweet, little bit of a sweet flavor to my cigars. And not to my cigars, but in between the cigars. And I decided to pick up the pipe again. And so I picked up the corn cob and the same bag, 2-ounce bag sample that I had of 1Q and tried it. And I don't know why, but I decided, no, I'm gonna figure this out. And so I did a lot of research, watched some mutton chop videos on how to breathe, how to do all that stuff. And then I quickly realized, well, hey, there's other tobaccos. And I was on a business trip, went to a B&M, I think it was in Phoenix, Arizona. I can't even remember the name of the B&M, but I went to a B&M and tried a couple of different, just tried smelling a couple of different tobaccos. One was Nightcap, and they had 110 left, and this was after, obviously, the Dunhill announcement. And so I decided to buy some Dunhill Nightcap, and that night I popped open the tin and I was just blown away by the flavor. And by blown away, I mean I was like, oh wow, I'm gonna have to smoke this. And so I did. I smoked a bowl, woke up the next morning still smelling the Latakia, and I thought, man, I don't know if this is for me. But I decided to hang with it, just like I did with the 1Q. And within about a week, I'm like looking for as many Latakia blends as I can find. I'm buying everything, same story you guys have probably heard 100 times. And then at some point, I was at the B&M and I said, look, I've tried aromatic, I've tried English, what do you guys recommend next? And they recommended either Burley blends or Virginia blends. And I smelled a couple of what they had in stock, and I decided to go with the Virginia. And my wife would have you know it was a downhill spiral from there. I call it an uphill spiral, but I proceeded to buy about every Virginia blend that I could find, and then I happened upon accident, I think, to get a sample of Bayou Morning from a buddy of mine, and that was another epiphany moment. Perique. And I remember thinking, this is phenomenal. I can't believe how good this is. I mean, Virginias are good, but Virginia Periques? And I'd heard them referred to as vapors, and man, I went both feet in and did the same thing. Went out and found as many vapors as I could find, tried a whole bunch of them. But I'd never kind of crossed into those Burley blends. And even after trying some of the vintage blends that I tried, I still wasn't convinced that Burley was for me. I was okay with, aromatics that had Burley, but I wasn't convinced that Burley was for me. The epiphany, though, that I had was when I tried Sweet Cask. And Sweet Cask has some red Virginia as well, but it's a Burley blend. It's got a lot of Burley in it, and I've tried several others. And just recently, within the last week probably, I tried, I think, Redburn, which is a Cornell and Deal blend. That recommendation came from Eddie at the Pipe Nook. It was on his top 10 list. I want to say it was number 2, and that stuff was awesome too. And so I started figuring out that, okay, well, unlike aromatics, and I kind of put everything into 2 different boats, 2 different camps, and for me it was kind of love one, try one, don't really like it, love one, try one, don't really like it. And so that was love one, aromatics, because that's kind of what I was looking for at the time. Tried English, didn't necessarily really like it at first, but it was an acquired taste. Tried Virginias, loved them. Virginia Periques, loved them. That was all the Virginia-based blends, absolutely loved them from the get-go. But then Burley blends have been kind of that acquired taste. And, I started thinking about, it's been 6 months since I started really kind of both feet in on pipe smoking. And I just kind of was going through it in my head the other day, and I was thinking about it, thinking, there's probably a lot of new pipe smokers that are trying to figure out what they like and what they don't like. And when they try a tobacco that maybe they really just don't like, or it just doesn't sit right with them, they'll probably throw it away and go to something that they do like. So just a little bit of advice from Road Glide Solely. If you try a tobacco and you just don't like it, I've found so far in the 6 months, and again, this is a very small window compared to a lot of the YTPC, but I've found that it pays to take that tobacco, set it aside, continue along your journey, continue down the path of trying different blends, different kinds, etc. But don't get rid of it. Come back to it. Wait 2-3 months sometimes, and then come back to it and see what it's like. And because I think, just like the first time I ever tried beer, I didn't like it, and then I liked Budweiser and Bud Light and Milwaukee's Best, and today I look at that stuff and I'm like, how did I even like that? I think tobaccos are kind of similar, where you tried aromatics, but now you go back to aromatics and you're like, I'm not really sure why I liked aromatics so much. Although aromatics are fine, I still go back to aromatics on a fairly regular basis. Just like when I'm out and I can't find anything else to drink, I will drink a Budweiser. No, I won't. I'll drink a Shiner. I'm in Texas, man. I'll drink a Shiner Bock. But I think some tobaccos are just an acquired taste. I think there's also tobaccos that you're never gonna like. You don't like them, there's no way. But don't give up on the first try. Set that sucker away. Come back to it in 2-3 months after your palate has kind of changed and you've gotten used to some of the other types of tobacco, and give it another chance. And so, again, I just wanted to thank Harriet for kind of doing that for me. I was giving up on even the even the vintage blends. And now I'm going back. So I tried Sweet Cask, I did Redburn, and now I pulled out the half and half that I bought and revisited it. And it's actually really good. This time, it wasn't good the first time. I thought it was okay, but and then Mr. Padre Piper, I gotta say thank you. I don't have it with me, but Padre Piper gave me an OTC blend that I'd never tried. In fact, hold on. Nope, I took it inside. He gave me an OTC blend that I'd never tried, Sir Walter Raleigh. And he mentioned that there was a bunch of the other ones that he didn't like, but he tried that one and loved it. And I had a bowl of that the other day, and it was phenomenal. It was good. So don't give up on a blend just because you don't like it. Set it aside, come back to it. You know, don't give up on your palate. If you're like me, I like variety. I can't just smoke the same thing over and over again. I do have a tobacco that I call kind of my home base, which is Bayou Morning. And I smoke it quite often. But I like variety. I have to come back to home base, but I like to go out to eat. You know, I love eating when my wife makes dinner or when I make dinner here at the house. But I like to go out to eat every now and then too. So anyway, that's just a little bit of thought process that I had going on the other day, and I thought I'd share it and figure it might be helpful for you. If you are a new smoker and you're trying a bunch of stuff and you're not liking everything that you're trying, put it in a jar, set it back, give it a shot later. So that is all I got. Thanks again, Harriet Herford, for the suggestion for Sweet Cask. I'm going to be smoking it probably quite often here in the next week or so. And with that, I am Rogueline Solely. Keep your rubber side down.